Hi guys, this is Rich with Wild Wonderful Weekends again, and today I'm at Kanawha State Forest at Overlook Rock Trail. It's a pretty good view. If you've never been up here, it's definitely worth the walk. But I wanted to make a video today because I got a new piece of equipment to make my videos a little more dynamic, hopefully. And that's this little drone here, the DJI Mavic Mini. And I've had it out a few times now. I've been practicing mainly taking off and landing by hand because I'm going to use this thing on the kayak. And I'm learning a few things now. There's a lot of tutorials and stuff out there about this little drone, so I'm not going to try to make any kind of in-depth tutorial. I'm going to focus more specifically on things that have to do with using this from a kayak, particularly here in West Virginia, where you don't always have a strong GPS signal. Did you hear that? A tree just went down. I hope that actually got captured on the camera. Wow, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so like I had it out at Summersville Lake yesterday, and I had a weak GPS signal, and when I first started it said that it may not be able to hover. I thought that was an odd error because obviously it's going to hover, but what it can't really do is lock in place and hover perfectly still. It moves around, and I mean it drifts. It really does happen at 2, 3, 4 feet is not uncommon at all for it to just kind of drift around a little bit without a strong GPS signal. Also, a lot of these places where I video, and I'm sure where you'll video too, there isn't a lot of cell reception. You don't even have cell reception at all sometimes. So all those things kind of factor in when you're using this drone, and I just kind of wanted to go over a few of those things. Another thing I learned here recently too is when you fly it out of a canopy like this, it's a pretty interesting shot. But when the drone gets out a little far, you can't necessarily track it with your eye, and you spin it around and you try to use the drone to figure out where it took off from, and everything looks kind of the same. So I'm just going to show you a few things like that. It takes excellent footage. I mean, I can't be more pleased with the quality of video and everything. It's just I think there are a couple challenges unique to this area when you're using a drone. This shot's a little out of focus. I'm a one-man operation and I just had my camera on the tripod. But as you can see, holding the drone to launch is pretty easy. You just have to be sure it's level and also that the wind isn't going to push it into anything when it takes off. In this shot, I flew the drone out only about 10 yards in a straight line, and you can see if it wasn't for the big gray rock, it would still be kind of difficult to tell how to get back. If you fly out much further and don't stay in a straight line, it's easy to get into a tricky situation. My recommendation is to be sure you are near a landmark that's easy to spot. Landing the drone in your hand is something that takes a little forethought and practice, but it isn't too difficult on land. It's a little more challenging on the water. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what it says when there's no GPS signal. It says aircraft unable to hover, fly with caution. When I was up on the overview rock, it was actually picking up a GPS signal, so I wasn't able to get that error. So I came back down to the car here and I'm able to get it here. Well, it just went away. But when I was at Mud River Lake yesterday, that actually wasn't an orange warning, it was a red warning. And when that thing would try to hover, it would drift, like I said, maybe up to even 4 feet in a circle. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're out there, and it's actually kind of critical if you're in a tight spot or something. You want that hover to be as precise as possible. Aside from being in a confined space, launching the drone from a kayak isn't that different from launching on land. The quick shots built into the drone software make it easy to get some really cool video clips. If you're flying somewhere with no cell signal and no GPS, the Maps feature of the DJI Fly app won't work. The part that will probably give you the most anxiety when you're flying your drone from a kayak is landing. On land, as the drone is coming down, you can move yourself under it quickly if you need to. In a kayak, that isn't the case. You have to make the drone come to you exactly where you need it, and a little wind or a little current in the water can mess it all up and you have to try again. You want to be sure to start your landing with plenty of battery charge left. Something that surprised me is the fact that the wind from the drone's propeller can cause the kayak to rotate. The first time I tried landing while I was on the water, I brought the drone down low in front of the kayak, then flew it closer to me at that altitude. When the drone moved over the bow of the kayak, it started rotating. It was only a little, but when you're trying to land a drone in one hand while working the controls with the other, every bit of motion matters. It's better if you keep the drone at a higher altitude and bring it almost directly overhead, but just a little in front of you before you start your descent. This disturbs the kayak much less. When you're sure you're ready, you can start the landing sequence. I descend slowly with my hand beneath the drone. When the sensors detect my hand and it starts to want to climb again, I hold the joystick down that controls altitude to begin the landing sequence. Once I catch the drone, I keep holding down the joystick until the propellers stop rotating. That's basically the things I've learned in my first week owning and flying this Mavic Mini that I didn't see in tutorials anywhere else. If this was helpful, let me know, and I'll share more tips as I gain experience with this drone. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.